Hi, I'm here today to do a documentary on the 2000 flood in York. As you can see, right at the top there is the 2000 flood, and then in 1982, then 1978, and then the 1995. You can see that the flood 2000 is a lot higher than the rest. From here you can see that not only was the flood covering Roundtrees Park, but how high it was in Roundtrees Park. My mum used to live here in 2000 and just next to the slip-in. Where this place used to be a slip, and she experienced all the floods. The slip is where the boats come up out of the water, so in fact at the highest point. Can you describe what happened in the 2000 floods for me, Mum?
Okay, so you asked me what it was like in the 2000 floods. Well, as you can see, we live very, very close to the river. And what happened was, Daddy and I were actually away on business. Daddy was in London and stuck on the M25 in traffic, and I was down in the middle of England in a training course. And we heard that actually the floods had got so bad that the flood barrier was going to break. It was only 1 millimetre away from breaking. So we rang our friends and they got a key. And you know, all of our friends actually got into our house, moved all our valuables upstairs, put our settee on beer crates so that should the barrier break and there be a tidal surge, our house, our valuables would still be protected.
How did your friends think of it then?
Well, actually, my friends all thought it was quite good fun because they'd all just finished work. They knew that there was an excitement almost in York. Nobody could quite believe the sight of the river being so flooded. You know, we're used to floods in York, but this was crazy. Anyway, our friends all came over and they worked like a real team. And then they all went next door to the pub, the slip-in, for beers. And there was a real kind of wartime spirit about it. Everybody came together and there was a real sort of solidarity of trying to help other people and see the difficulty that other people were facing. Because some of these houses behind you, if you just carefully look, they were all underwater. They couldn't get to their houses. There were boats coming up and down the street.
Wow, what a story! Do you think that it made people think differently?
Well, yes, actually, I think it did, Ewan. You see, people had been quite scared. There'd been floods in the past, but not as bad as this. And with all the global warming idea in place, people started to think very carefully about where they lived. We were actually moving house at the time of the floods, and we were relieved to think that we were going to somewhere that was on a bit of a hill, Windmill Lane, where windmills are high up, and it wasn't on the floodplain map. Insurers also thought differently. We work for an insurance company. And in fact, you know, they do take into account where you live because there's a more likelihood of your house actually flooding. So yes, people did start to think about where they were living and what the repercussions might be if there were other floods in the future.